Where did it all start for me? Right here with the Invicta Pro Diver 8926 OB. This was the first automatic watch that I owned. This is what got it all started for me. It led to over 45 videos on this channel. Actually 47 as of my last one and this one that I should be uploading soon. Now, I know I reviewed this watch in the past and I had some negative things to say about Invicta as a brand, but I've decided to relook at this brand and this particular lineup with the same set of eyes that I looked at it when I got into the hobby of collecting watches and now reviewing them. So stay tuned for this one. All right, jumping right into the specs here, we have a case size of 40 millimeters. You have a case thickness of 14 millimeters and a lug to lug of 48 millimeters. We also have a lug width of 20 millimeters with a water resistance of 200 meters. As for the movement housed in this Invicta, you have the NH35A. For the bracelet, it is a stainless steel bracelet. For the crystal, it is a mineral crystal, and the bezel is a 120 click unidirectional bezel with an aluminum bezel insert. Taking a closer look at the details on this case, you have that Invicta logo on the side that some people like and some people dislike. I personally don't care too much for it. Also looking at the case thickness here, 14 millimeters, you can see a lot of that's coming from that screw down exhibition case back. That's going to make this watch sit a lot taller on the wrist than it should. Taking a closer look at the crown, you'll notice it has the Swiss-made stamp, which is a little bit confusing because these are not Swiss-made watches, but I understand they're just playing to the history of Invicta, which is Latin for invincible. This company was established in 1837 by Raphael Picard in Switzerland. Their idea was to create Swiss-made watches that were reasonably priced, and I guess they stayed true to the reasonably priced, but deviated from the Swiss-made, and their idea of branding now is a little bit different. All right, I digress. Let's talk about the bracelet here. You have that linear brush finish on the outer links with a high polished center. It's going to measure in at 20 millimeters and taper down to 18 millimeters and back up to 20 millimeters at the clasp. Speaking of clasp, this is going to be a press clasp. This is not a milled clasp, and that is to be expected at this price range. I do like this Invicta logo. It reminds me a lot of the Breitling logo, so I give it a thumbs up there. Now, being that this is a press clasp, you are going to get some rattling from this, so don't expect much out of this bracelet. You also have hollow end links. That's also going to lead to a lot of rattling, but again, at this price range, it is to be expected. Now, not everything is bad with this clasp. Here you have the inclusion of 4 micro adjustments, which is most definitely welcome in my book. All right, so I do want to talk about the dial here. You have that deep inky black. And of course, this overall layout is going to pay homage to that Rolex Submariner 16808, the nipple dial. It's not one of my favorite Rolex. In fact, it's probably my least favorite Rolex. I just wasn't a fan of these indices, so I don't know, they're just weird looking. Here we have a on the wrist shot. I love the way this watch pairs with my wedding band, which is a tungsten wedding band. It aged very nicely. It kind of took on this like metallic look, kind of. It's hard to explain, but neither here nor there. Back to the watch. This bracelet is going to pluck quite a bit of hairs, so it's going to take some getting used to. The crown guards are going to dig into the wrists. So those are things to keep in mind. This is a watch you're going to want to wear a little bit higher on the wrist, but overall it wears nicely and I enjoy wearing this watch. That dial is fantastic. I have to say they really killed it with it. It has a nice inky black finish to it. Looks really, really good. One of the things I don't like is the lume plops. They have like this greenish tint to it, and I'm not the only one to have mentioned that. There has been other reviews where they talk about that. Taking a close look at this dial, I think Invicta did a fantastic job here with that deep inky black dial, as I mentioned earlier. The Invicta logo, the text on the dial is extremely legible, and then also the logo being applied as the counterbalance for the seconds hand. I think that gives this watch's own DNA, and it puts it in that category of a homage watch and not a blatant copy, contrary to what a lot of other reviewers have said. So I really would say this is more of a homage watch than it is a copy. Like I said earlier in the video, this is the piece that started it all for me. This planted that seed in me, that bug that caused me to go down this rabbit hole of collecting watches and wanting to learn more about them, and now even doing reviews on watches. And you know, somewhere in that path, I started to let myself be persuaded by the opinion of other reviewers, and I found myself bashing and shunning this brand. And yes, there are some things about the Invicta brand that is distasteful. There are some designs that would make you question the design team over at Invicta, but there is no denying that this particular watch it's a good looking timepiece, and it's a lot of value to be had here. For $85, you get a iconic movement, which is the Seiko NH35A, and overall this is a good looking watch. I highly recommend this watch. You know, if you're just getting into watches, this is a good way to see if that's something that you want to pursue. But there you have it, guys. This is my second review on the Invicta Pro Diver 8926 OB. I want to thank you guys for watching. If you haven't already subscribed to the Watch Life Review channel, please do so. Drop a like, drop a comment, and hit that notification icon so you're notified as videos come out. Again, this was your host, Laz. Till the next one.